Medicare covers a lot, but there are some things Medicare does not cover. Today, I'm going to share the top things Medicare doesn't cover, and be sure to stay to the end because I'm going to show you exactly how to protect yourself. Before we dive in, be sure to check out my free Medicare 101 guide, which you can download using the link in the description below. Be sure to check that out. So the first thing we're going to talk about that Medicare doesn't cover is long-term care. So Medicare will only cover you for 100 days in a skilled nursing facility. After 100 days, you're responsible for all costs. Nursing facilities can be very expensive. Over $10,000 a month is not uncommon for a nice facility. So how do you protect yourself against long-term care costs when you're on Medicare? Well, you can do a long-term care insurance policy, which would come in the form of a hybrid policy or a traditional policy, or you can choose to self-fund your long-term care costs. Buying the insurance versus self-funding obviously has its pros and cons. Long-term care insurance can be very expensive for most people, and self-funding can also be expensive too. So you do have to decide which choice you want to make as far as long-term care insurance or self-funding. If you qualify for Medicaid through your state, that's an option as well. But at the end of the day, Medicare will only cover up to 100 days in a skilled nursing facility. After that, you're responsible for all costs. The next thing Medicare doesn't cover is dental, vision, and hearing. Medicare will not cover you for routine dental work, for cleanings, for exams, or x-rays. They won't cover you for vision checks unless it's medically necessary or related to a diabetic condition or some other medical condition like glaucoma or cataracts. So you're going to be on your own when it comes to routine dental and vision. Also, Medicare does not cover hearing aid coverage at all. And as you may know, hearing aids are expensive, dental work, vision can be expensive as well. So options for that would be to purchase a standalone dental, vision, and hearing policy, or do just a dental policy or just a vision policy, or you can pay cash and take that route as well. That's an option. If you're looking for help on those products or you have questions, give us a call at the number below. We'd be glad to help you out. Also, Medicare Advantage is an option because Medicare Advantage usually includes dental, vision, and sometimes hearing coverage as well. So that would be an alternative to original Medicare because Medicare Advantage would take over your Medicare and become primary. Be sure to check out my video on Medicare Advantage versus Medicare Supplement before making a decision. I'll link that in the description below so you can watch that video. The next thing Medicare doesn't cover is prescription drugs purchased at a pharmacy. So Medicare will cover you in a hospital for drugs covered under Part B, such as infusions and other drugs given at a hospital, but it will not cover you at a pharmacy. So you can either do a Part D drug plan, or if you choose to go Medicare Advantage plans normally include drug coverage. When choosing a drug plan, make sure your prescriptions are covered and you know what your copays will be. The way the plans work, whether it's a standalone Part D plan or a Medicare Advantage plan, is the plans have what's called tiers, where they organize the drugs into tiering. So the more generic, cheaper medications are on the lower tiers, and the more expensive brand name medications are on the higher tiers. Copays will generally be lower on the lower tiers and higher on the higher tiers as the medications get more expensive. So it's important to know which tier your medication falls into and what your copay for each tier and each medication will be. Also, will there be a deductible and how much will that medication cost you over the course of a year? Because the plans do vary between the medications, it's important to make the right decision before you enroll into a Part D plan or a Medicare Advantage plan. If you need help, give us a call at the number below. We'll be glad to help you out if you need to compare options for your Medicare. The next thing that's not covered is foreign travel. So original Medicare does not cover you if you leave the country and something happens overseas. So as you know, when traveling, things can happen, and if they do happen, they can be quite expensive. So your options would be on Medicare, you can add a Medicare supplement or Medigap policy, and plans such as G and N do offer foreign travel. It's limited. So the way it works is you'll get $50,000 for the lifetime of the policy, and that'll cover you for this first 60 days. For emergencies, It'll cover you at 80% coverage with a $250 deductible. So again, that's on plans G and N for Medigap, and that works as a reimbursement. So that's one option. If you choose to go Medicare Advantage, some Medicare Advantage plans do have some foreign travel, but most don't. We always recommend our clients to consider a actual travel insurance policy that usually they're going to include coverage for like your baggage, for interruptions, most importantly for medical. So even if you have the Medigap policy, we still do recommend our clients purchase an actual travel insurance policy, depending on how long your trip can be. If it's longer than 60 days, again, that Medigap policy is only going to cover you for 60 days. So if you're going out of the country for longer than 60 days, you'll need to consider additional coverage, and that can be in the form of an actual travel insurance policy. The next thing that Medicare doesn't cover is acupuncture and chiropractic services. So Medicare does cover some chiropractic if it's medically necessary, but generally adjustments are not covered. Now, options to have coverage for these items would be obviously paying cash, or some Medicare Advantage plans do have coverage for acupuncture and chiropractic, but I can tell you most of them do not. So most folks are actually just going to pay out of pocket or pay cash for acupuncture or chiropractic. The next thing Medicare does not cover is home care. So similar to what we talked about earlier about long-term care, Medicare has very limited coverage when it comes to care at home. So let's say you come out of a skilled nursing facility, you're recovering from a medical event at home. Medicare will only cover you for up to 21 days at home, and they will not cover any custodial care at all. Custodial care is non-medical care and non-medical help, such as help around the house with cleaning, chores, cooking, things like that. Medicare has no coverage for that. If you're concerned about coverage at home for Medicare doesn't cover, you can consider an at-home recovery care product, which would help cover the costs at home and help you to cover things like custodial care, which would be cooking, cleaning, and help around the house. So that would be a separate policy which you can add to your Medicare coverage. Also, you have that option to pay out of pocket, come out of your savings, or most long-term care policies, if you're going in that direction, can cover items at home and help pay for your recovery at home. So as you can see, there are a lot of things that Medicare does not cover. So it's important to review your coverage and do your research if you're worried about any of these items. And if you have any questions or need help with your Medicare, give us a call at the number below, or you can use the link in the description to book an appointment with us, and we'd be glad to help you with any Medicare questions that you have. Be sure to click like and subscribe to stay updated on all things Medicare. Thanks for watching the video, and we'll see you on the next one. Thank you.